am Lauren Frederick. I am the CTO at Element 84, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 2024 Geospatial Tech Radar that Element 84 just launched yesterday. I kind of hate these podiums, though, so you probably can't see this. So last year, we were here at FOSS4G NA, guess a little less than a year ago, and we introduced our first Geospatial Tech Radar. And yesterday, the second one launched. It's our second version. It's the 2024 updated Tech Radar. So I'm going to talk briefly about who Element 84 is and why you'd be interested in our Tech Radar. What is a Tech Radar and why are we doing it? Then I'm going to get into some changes that we made from last year and then some overarching technical trends we've been seeing. I'll try to get to the side of this. Okay, so Element 84 is a woman-owned small business. We work in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors to leverage geospatial data processing pipelines and build software that answers big questions for our users. We have been heavily invested in operating in the open source ecosystem and contributing back and leveraging it as much as we can. There's few core things that we do, so geospatial scaling support, which includes geospatial software, strategic geospatial consulting at the executive level. We have a satellite geospatial accelerator, and then we do interactive data visualization and web applications for decision support. Our core services, software engineering, which includes geospatial software engineering, cloud architecture and scaling. AI and machine learning is a sector we've been getting into pretty recently. So Jason Gilman from Element 84 just gave a talk after this at the Ray. Adil Hassan is also going to be giving a talk on how we're leveraging AI at Element 84. So I'll be plugging those throughout this as well, because that's going to be a deeper dive into some of the things that we're doing. This is more high level. We also have user experience and design. So we have our business split up into three distinct areas: federal, aerospace, climate. Like I said, we do work across the federal space, the nonprofit space, the commercial space, and this kind of targets areas within specific areas within those. And then across the board, we're looking at geospatial, how we're leveraging best practices there, AI, cloud, security, design, and infrastructure. So we have leads at those levels working across the board. And that's where we pull in this experience that we have to put on the radar each year. So that's a bit about who we are. Now, what is a tech radar? What is a geospatial tech radar? So our idea around the Tech Radar is based on ThoughtWorks. They put out a biannual Tech Radar each year. So we're taking the idea from them and we are putting out our own. So this is what the ThoughtWorks Tech Radar looks like. These little dots here, they're called blips. So each piece of technology is called a blip, so that's where the terminology comes from. They have some different quadrants and how they split up their blips, and then they have these rings that kind of guide you into what level of usage. So do you want to adopt this? Do you want to trial it? Do you want to just kind of watch it and assess it, or should you not be using it? So ours is pretty similar. This is a screenshot from the 2024 radar. So instead, their quadrants, ours are similar, but to make it more geospatial oriented, we have data and standards. We have the same rings though, so we're looking at the same rings there. Okay, so why are we doing a Geospatial Tech Radar? Why did we start this last year? What's our motivation behind this? So one is it's really exciting to look back in the last year and celebrate all of the achievements that we've had in the industry. We also want to show what we're excited about. So what has worked for us? What hasn't worked for us? What have we been using, and what do we really want to talk about? We want to make this a resource for the community, but really provoke thought, provoke conversation. So I'm not saying that this is your end-all guide. You might have different experiences. You don't even have to listen to me, but I would love to have a conversation on what you think about some of these. And the thing that makes me really excited about putting this out is it's really a collection of opinions from our group. So I could go write a deep dive blog post, but I think, and I could ask somebody else to do that, but I think pulling together what we as a company have used and what we as a company are excited about, I think it's a really nice format to be able to do that. It's a much shallower dive, but then it could lead you to make a deeper dive into some of these technologies. So one thing I want to point out is something that I personally feel really passionate about is that it's not just geospatial. There is so much that goes into a full production level geospatial solution, and I want to make sure that the radar is really well-rounded and it's highlighting all of that. So one of the things you'll see added this year is some blips specifically around security, because even when we're looking at open source solutions, security is still a concern. Data privacy is still a concern. We're looking at software engineering best practices. We're looking at user experience and design, project management. So you won't see just geospatial on there, but you'll see things that really make a full geospatial solution, scalability, things like that. I think there's even a blip about a note-taking app on there. So it's things that we're excited about that really help us develop these entire solutions. Okay, so where do the blips come from? We put out a call internally to everybody at Element 84 to have them submit the blips, what they feel about, and which rank they think it should be in. But we also solicit opinions externally as well. So a call went out over the summer on LinkedIn and X to submit blips. We got 6 external submissions. Some of them are here at the conference, and we got 30 submissions from within the company, and those are also to change things to move them around in the ranks. There were conflicts. So what we did up front was our geospatial lead, Matt, in the front. He was, I called him the arbiter of content, and we put one person in charge of making the decision should there be conflicts. But what ended up happening is it led to some really great conversations. One notably was, should LLMs be in adopt or trial? And just like general LLM use, and we ultimately decided, I actually thought adopt, but we ultimately decided trial due to the amount of open questions around where things are going. They're free now, are they going to cost money, things like that. So we had some really great conversations come out of this internally. Okay, so what has changed year over year? Okay, so we're able to show now that we have 2 years. We're able to show year over year movement. So there's these arrow indicators. Now it's a little different than how ThoughtWorks does it, that show when things have moved and the direction that they moved in. So as things move towards the center, we're saying, we're moving more towards adopting it. So I'll get into ZAR in a little bit. ZAR moved from trial to adopt this year. We also have this ring specifying things that are new. So if it has a ring around it, it was added to the radar this year. And then if it's a plain circle, it's no change. So it's been interesting to look at those trends. We did remove some blips. I had a conversation at the Element 84 booth about how we're reading into things that were removed. The hold ring is for things that we feel like you should hold on. Removed, there's reasons we have, this is a list of reasons we remove things, but not necessarily meant to be read into it. So there were things that we thought were maybe a little too broad that we needed to get more specific, like data lakes. There were things that we decided were too specific, like GitHub Copilot. Now there are an array of AI coding assistants. The landscape has changed, so we took GitHub Copilot and made a blip around AI coding assistants. And then some just didn't have a champion this year. We need to curate this list because if we keep adding and adding and adding, it's gonna pollute the list, and we really want it to represent things that Element 84 has an opinion on. Okay, so we added a bunch, 22, there were 22 new blips, 8 moved, and then many remained in the same position. We introduced the hold ring. So last year, this was actually the watch ring. We didn't have anything we were saying you should hold on. We had watch and assess. This year, we took a look at it, and we figured watch and assess are really similar. And we actually had things that we were like, no, you really do need to hold here. You might, like, we really think you might not want to use that. And this is in line with what ThoughtWorks does. So we went back to that there. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the trends. Looking at the 2023 radar, looking at the 2024 radar, what are we looking at? So in a shocking turn of events, we're going to talk about AI, and that's going to be a lot. So I was looking at it, I sat with the radar, the number of AI blips from 2023 to 2024, I think it just about doubles. So we're seeing double the amount of AI technologies. I was looking for trends to see if it got more geospatial, but I couldn't really see that it necessarily got more geospatial. It's just a lot of AI, and about almost, not quite, half of the new 2024 blips had something to do with AI. So this is quite in line with what we're seeing in the industry. What we're seeing at the conference today is that AI has a very large presence, so it has it on the radar. Okay, you're not supposed to be able to read this whole thing. So just like I said, we're seeing a massive amount of AI. This graphic is, I pulled a graphic of the generative AI landscape just to show the mass of what we're dealing with here. And this is what we're trying to sift through. And I looked at this, and there were things that I thought were missing from this list. So we're dealing with a lot. There's a huge increase in tooling. So last year, when we put out the radar, we're really more looking at, it was like more ChatGPT specific, and now we know that there's a lot of LLM options. There's a lot more now. And then, like I gave the example with GitHub Copilot, there's a lot more coding assistants out there. Everybody has a coding assistant. Every tool you probably use has some kind of AI integration in it. The other thing is foundation and open models. So looking at last year versus this year, we're moving away from tooling to develop and train your own model versus using what's already out there, and then using what's already out there and building upon it with things like agents to integrate some tooling, vector embeddings, natural language geocoding. So how can we take what's out there and what's already existing and build upon it instead of starting from scratch and building our own models? So this is from Hugging Face, and I took a screenshot last week that I didn't bother to update. There were over 900,000 models. If you look today, this is probably Thursday, if you look today, maybe 5 or so days later, it's almost 930,000 models. So there's a lot of development going on, and this is just illustrating how much is out there and how can we use what's out there. And that also can get into a sustainability talk. We know that training and building models is not always the best for the environment too. So how can we leverage what's out there? So this is the expanse that we're looking at, and it's completely overwhelming. I think many can agree that this is totally overwhelming. And when we go back to the motivations of Element 84, putting together a tech radar, it's to help make this hopefully less overwhelming, to give you a place to start so you can see what we've used and you can see how we've experienced it, what's kind of worked for us, and then dig in from there. So what we're looking at for AI, this is a little forward looking, but this excites me. So I'm going to talk about it as we're looking externally and internally, and I split it up into two kind of distinct categories. Like, how can we expand on the solutions that we're building for our customers? How can we better and more quickly answer their questions? But on the other side, there's so much going on internally. Like I said, probably every tool you use is like, use our AI integration. And I'm looking at how can we increase developer productivity, add business solutions. If you've done any hiring recently, you've seen how in the application process, AI is clearly very prevalent. How do we work with that? And how do we enhance quality of life for our developers? Maybe there are the things they don't really like to do that we can outsource to AI. So these are the kind of questions that we're asking as we look at AI tools. And then on the other side, considerations. So right now, there's a lot out there for free. I don't know how sustainable that is, and that's something that tends to give us pause. Sustainability, we're looking at what is the impact to our planet of AI. Legal issues are kind of trailing in this space. How are we watching that? How are we using AI responsibly as the legal and compliance process catches up? We saw all the different AI tools. There's huge hype cycles around it. How are we deciphering that? What's kind of actually useful? What can we actually apply? Security and data privacy, I think, is big because as this is a place where people don't really know a ton about it, we have to watch what we're doing there. I don't want to take someone's data, put it into a prompt, and then leak everybody's data inadvertently. And then trust. We know LLMs can hallucinate. How are we building trust in our models? So see, these are some of the considerations as we're moving forward that we're looking at. So I don't want it to be just AI, an AI talk. We have a lot of those. Another one I wanted to point out is ZAR. So over the course of the last year, ZAR released version 3, and that had a lot of exciting new functionality that led us to move ZAR from the trial to the adopt ring, because we're seeing that ZAR is having development on it, but the other piece of that is it's also getting an ecosystem about it. So around it. So we have virtual ZAR, and that's in the assess state that builds on the Kerchunk functionality, and we have Array Lake also in assess that adds this dedicated metadata layer for support. So when we're looking at a tool like ZAR, we're seeing that it's widely adopted, it's being actively developed, and it's building this ecosystem around it. So that's one of the ones we wanted to highlight because it's also bringing other blips onto the radar. The other one is GeoParquet, also went from trial to adopt, so it's building upon Parquet that works well within the cloud. Then we have GeoParquet built on top of it. We're looking at Stack GeoParquet. Matt just mentioned that in his talk. We have that in the trial stage with the stack support on top of it. If you go to Adil's talk, my guess is he's going to mention it when talking about storing vector embeddings. So we're looking at how we're seeing these tools really have different applications and have more of a community built around those. And that's how we're moving things up in the ranks. So the radar is out. It's on the website. So if you go to element84.com, in the community section, there's going to always be a link to the most recent radar. You can also look at last year's radar from there. We link back. There's also a blog post on this, but I was telling people, please go look at the blog post. It's going to be a lot of the same things I said. So, but please go look at it. And it takes a whole team to build something like this year over year. So we had a bunch of people contribute to the content here. We had several external contributors. Some are here at FOSS4G, so thank you so much if you contributed. We have design, development. We really appreciate everybody giving their opinion and providing content for this so we can do this year after year. If you want to learn more about what Element 84 does, how our services can help you, or you just want to talk about the radar, there's already some stuff going on. I think it's on X talking about the radar. But if you agree, disagree, you think that we're missing something, you wanted to see something, please reach out. We'd love to have that conversation. Some of what we did after the 2023 radar, it was really well received. We talked to people and got feedback for the next radar, and it's been really, really helpful. So we'd love to have that conversation with you. And we have some more talks, like I mentioned, coming up this week. So Adil is going to be talking at 3 o'clock, and then we have some more tomorrow. And I don't know, are you today down? Yeah, actually that's today. Okay, that's today. They're later today. So yeah, so check out the rest of the Element 84 talks we have, and that's all I have. Thank you so much. I think I'm right on time. There's Dominique.